Le Nissan Kick-Play 2025 a beaucoup de plus. Apple CarPlay intégré pour jouer vos tunes préférées, des fonctions avancées de sécurité, un rendement énergétique remarquable, puis même la petite odeur de char neuf qu'on aime tant. Tout ça en plus pour moins. Le Nissan Kick Play 2025 est le véhicule neuf le plus abordable au Québec. Achetez-le à partir de seulement 22 774 $, incluant un rabais à l'achat comptant de 2 600 $. Profitez de cette offre avantageuse chez votre concessionnaire dès maintenant. Jusqu'au 2 mars, des conditions s'appliquent. Détails chez Nissan.
All right, welcome back to the Elias Makos Show. Now, much fanfare over the fact that the mayor of Montreal, Valérie Plante, decided that she's not going to run in the next election for mayor of Montreal. There are even more politicians saying, okay, that's it, giving up the mayor's chair. Let's go to one of them now. The mayor of Westmount, Christina Smith, will not seek re-election in November. It ends 12 years on council, including 8 as mayor, and she's on the line. Mayor Smith, welcome back to the program.
Good morning.
Listen,
thanks for having me back.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you again. Listen, before we get into the decision not to run again, I just want to touch upon something, because the last time you were on this show, and it was in recent memory, we were talking about...
Not that long ago.
That's right,
yeah.
right? And we were talking about the redevelopment plans for the part of Westmount, along St. Catherine Street. And I took note, there was a story in the Gazette where architecture icon Phyllis Lambert, a lot of people look up to her, right? And I got to say, she really...
Myself included.
So I just have to ask you, when Phyllis Lambert says that your plan is quote-unquote boring and says it's not a reasoned, thought-through project at all, I mean, I imagine that's like shot through the heart, I imagine. But what did you think when you saw those comments?
Well, I think like some of the other comments that have been put out there, and one of the challenges on this file is that there is no project in place. So Phyllis is not. I mean, she's commenting on. Yeah, it does look boring because there are like blocks on a visual. There is no architecture to comment on. There is no project. There's no. It's more a visioning exercise of what is the potential for the neighborhood, what could be there. So I think this tool, the PPU tool, which hasn't been used, certainly this is new to Westmount of how we're doing it. There is no project yet, so I look forward to Phyllis's to Ms. Lambert's comments when we do have like the architectural details of a project that's coming forward.
Uh-huh.
And there's many elements of as I've said, there's elements of this that. I don't love in terms of placement of public squares, things like that. But what we're really doing is seeking community feedback. So we thank her for her feedback, because it is all part of it. But what's also interesting in her commentary was that she's not opposed to the height, which is really kind of been a bit of the main crux and the main debate in this, is that she is not opposed to height on St. Catherine Street. And I thought that was interesting, in that it wasn't, throw it all away, start again. This is this sort of like anti-development stance was not at all the approach that she took. And clearly something has to happen on St. Catherine Street. I think we can all agree on that.
All right. So and I find that interesting, because I think your point taken, maybe this is a bit of criticism that jumps the gun, right? Criticism before maybe there's a real plan to criticize. And I wonder if this leads very nicely into our topic for today, right, about your decision not to run again. Because I would imagine when you're mayor of a city like Westmount, or whatever part of this city, right, there's tons of mayors in the demerged municipalities and the borough mayors, of course. You probably get a lot of criticism. And I wonder if sometimes you feel, hey, I'm getting criticism. There's not even a plan yet. So I wonder if this is an example of the kind of stuff that would lead someone like you to say, okay, I'm not going to run again. I'm getting out of this.
Well, I mean, there's no topic, and I think we had talked about this when I was last on your show. There's no, as I've said, there's nothing that will fill a council chamber like development and dogs. So either of those two issues, and you're guaranteed to have some pushback. And there have been no projects in Westmount. We've had tiny ones to this is obviously a much larger one that haven't had significant pushback from the neighborhood, and that's how the system is set up. So when you talk about how you access housing and how housing projects get put through the system in terms of getting their permits. There is a framework for citizens, a very established framework for citizens to be able to oppose, to have public consultations when you move somewhere and your neighbor has a set of rules and your expectation is that set of rules will continue. If it doesn't, then there is a forum for public consultation and a way for citizens to oppose that. Huh. And even in buildings that are built already, that might have some slight zoning change, we have seen massive pushback, which is quite telling for a built building.
So,
the building exists.
And I guess what leads to me to my question is, does it wear you down? And has it worn you down to the point that it's one of the reasons why you said, I'm not going to run again?
No, I mean, there's lots of factors as to why. I do think that I'm not advocating for term limits, but I do think that, leadership should have some turnover. 12 years on council is a long time. I've taken up a seat at that table for 12 years. I think I've contributed a lot, but I do think change is good for a city, and a change is good for me too. And personally, where I'm at in my career, I think this is, the right step, and the right timing. The timing felt right. And since I announced, this isn't something that I decided once, Valerie Plante announced. I wasn't like, oh, wait a second, me too. Uh-huh. This is something I've, thought about for ages in terms of, timing in my life and what I want to do next, and where do I want to spend my efforts in terms of making, if I am going to be in public life, what's the best use of my time for that? And this just felt like the right timing because it was going to be, and I think if you are going to run, you really need to commit to the 4 years. Because otherwise that's disingenuous to the electorate. Right?
Okay, so what is next? Is it just another type of office, or is it private sector? What's next?
I have a couple different projects and a couple things that people have brought forward to me over the past couple of years that really did get me thinking about what's next. I don't think you're not going to see my face on a campaign poster in 2025.
Okay,
but I still will be there to contribute. I still will, I'll actively participate, certainly at the federal and provincial level of working with my MNA, my MP, to try and move some files forward. There are a couple little projects that I definitely would like to work on.
Okay, well,
I came from the private sector. I wouldn't mind going back to the private sector. So we'll see. I don't have anything to announce specifically right now, though.
Well, 2025 will take out federal politics and municipal politics. I should point out 2026 is the provincial election year. Yes. Just throwing that out there. Okay, let me just ask you, because much has been made about, and I know we touched a little bit on it, but much has been made about toxicity, especially the online stuff. And I wonder if that is also part of it. I mean, listen, you did 12 years. So you're a tough cookie to last 12 years in any position, especially in the political realm. I
mean, municipal politics is different too, right? It's very, very personal. It's right in your face. I've been at a million events with federal politicians and provincial politicians, and it's the municipal one. Like people, they are touched daily by the initiatives that we put in place or how we run our city, and so it's very, very personal. But it's also really, really important, and that's one message that I would like to convey is how important it is. How people, I would encourage people to run. It's an incredibly rewarding thing to do, to be able to give back to your community, but also to understand you got to be running for something, right? You can't just run because you hate something.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's maybe, where we've gotten a little bit in municipal politics, and that might be why there has been quite a significant exodus in this mandate alone in Quebec, right? Mm-hmm. And to make sure you understand, you understand how government works. Understand, a lot of people run for office and they have zero understanding of how, we award projects and how tenders are given out. And there's a set of rules, and we're creatures of the province. But it's incredibly rewarding, but at the same time, it's incredibly personal, and it can get very, very toxic. And we've seen a shift in the 12 years I've been on council. It's a it's a different world. It's a completely different world with how politics works. It's a different world with, whatever. It's the Facebook pages that, rip you to shreds.
Yeah.
You see these people, you know them. They're your neighbors.
Yeah.
And
but on
you're
Facebook,
watching
this
misinformation be spread like wildfire. And there's not a lot you can, you just have to continue to try and get your message across and work hard and continue to try and offer the best services to your community and not pay too much attention to the noise. But you'd be lying. Like anyone would be lying if they said it didn't bother them, or they're is that really the kind of person that you want running that is not bothered by that at all? But I think we've got to stand up to it. You got to stand up to the bullies. You have to stand up to the misinformation that's out there.
Mayor Smith, if you want to become a political commentator in your next phase, you let us know, okay?
All right. I'll be in touch.
Christina Smith is the mayor of Westmount.